Welcome back, America. As promised, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina joins me. Hello, Senator. Welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Hugh, good to be back with you. I hope you're doing fantastic.
I am, and I hope the same for you. You are, however, the chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. I've always wondered about people who take that job on, Senator. It's kind of a nightmare, isn't it?
It is indeed a very difficult task, especially in the 2026 cycle. One of the reasons why I took it is I believe it gives me a chance to make a positive impact on this nation's future. I believe 4 years in the majority, Hugh, is long enough to have generational change. So the NRSC job gives me an opportunity to recruit candidates, raise money, and make sure America's future is absolutely impacted by the Trump 4 years. I think we could have the kind of pro-market positive change that will make America great for a generation, not just for 4 years.
Senator, the last time I saw you and talked to you, I was sitting across from you on the debate stage. How did that campaign go? What'd you make of the debates?
You know, my campaign, Faith in America, really was, in fact, what I felt called to do, which was have a positive message. When we knew the American people wanted a bull in the China shop, it gave me an opportunity to understand the American people better. What I left with was this notion that America has never been at the precipice of change as we were then. And frankly, what we've seen in the first couple of months of the presidency is that change that I knew we were hungry for. I left it more optimistic, frankly, more humbled, and more hungry for the change that people need every single day.
Now, I've done debates in 2016 and 2024, Senator. I've come to the conclusion the Republicans should never let legacy media near them again. What do you think?
Amen. Well, Hugh, listen, one of the things that we see every single time we let the liberal media dictate our debates, it turns out to be a colossal failure. Thank God you were one of the moderators. The fact of the matter is we should have 3 moderators who are all conservative and objective and ask us the tough questions. The fact of the matter is the liberal media wants to trap us, not so that we expose to the American people our positions on policies, but that they expose the chaos that comes from their own hearts, their own objectives. That is not in the best interest of the American people. The one thing I can say about you, Hugh, is you're intelligent, you're engaging, and you're intellectually curious. And having a conversation with you in a debate forum is a little intimidating, but in the end, it informs the American people about why we stand where we stand, what we will do, and how that's in their best interest. That's all you can really ask.
Well, I'm not looking for flattery, but I did ask 3 questions about China, and they're the only 3 questions anyone ever asked about China. I learned later from your colleague, Senator Cotton, whose book's over my shoulder, that every network except Fox is owned by a studio that worries about China. I didn't know that.
You can tell by the debate, that's without any question. We should all be concerned about the existential threat that is China, economically and from a military perspective. There's no doubt that a country that lies, cheats, and steals our intellectual property is stealing a part of the future. Reining that in is incredibly important. That's one of the things I'm doing as the chairman of the banking committee, frankly. I know I chair the NRSC, but as chairman of the banking committee, I'm looking to make sure that we slow down, if not stop, certain products and technologies going to China. It's not in our best interest. And frankly, it's not in the world's best interest. The weaker they get, the better it is for the world.
I want to come back to the banking committee in a moment. Senator Murphy's coming up, by the way, next hour. But I want to ask you about the NRSC. As I look at the map, Senator Collins and Senator Tillis of Maine and North Carolina,
yes,
friends of mine, they're going to have targets on their back. They're both great candidates. Senator Ossoff of Georgia is weak, and there are open seats in Minnesota and Michigan. How goes the recruitment in those 3 Democrat-held seats?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I've talked to a number of candidates in those 3 states specifically. Number one, I'll say this. In Georgia, there's no question that the star of the show would be Brian Kemp. I think according to the last poll, he has a 13-point lead against Ossoff. Number 2, we're going to find the best candidate who wants to run. If Brian decides not to do so, we're already talking to other candidates in the state. The good news is John Ossoff is not representing the people of Georgia. They know it, he knows it, and frankly, we know it. So we believe we're in a positive position to see change come to Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. Mike Rogers lost that state by 0.3%. I believe that our recruitment efforts there will manifest in a positive candidate who will win that state. Number 3, I look at Minnesota, a state where President Trump ended up about 46% of the vote. She won with 50% of the vote, even with the vice presidential candidate being the governor of the state. That means opportunity springs eternal in Minnesota. So we're going there with reckless abandonment.
Stand by for a second, Senator. I want to come back and ask you about the budget before we go. Don't go anywhere, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Yes, sir.